Okay, welcome everybody to our spring 2024 officer training, take two, I guess. I'm so glad that you're all able to join either in person or virtually after the big snowstorm last Friday. So thank you all for being flexible and still being present today. We are excited to have you all here and kick off another great semester. We're going to start today with some updates and announcements. Some of them are some of those regular updates that we have to remind everybody of every semester. And then there's also some new content as well. Once we leave here today, we have an assortment of breakout sessions, and these are for you to all learn the nuts and bolts of running a student organization. So how many of you all are new to your officer position this semester? Excellent. And how many of you are returning and have been through officer training or kind of know some of the ropes? Excellent. So I would say utilize your time today wisely and kind of divide and conquer. So if there's more than one person from your organization here, don't stay in the same sessions for the whole time, like divide and conquer so that you can go to 8 sessions or even more and get as much information as possible. So for the treasurers in the room, who are our treasurers? Everyone who's handling finances for your club, I would definitely make sure to go to one of the financial procedures sessions and also the how to submit a successful Senate funding request. So this way you can learn how to get some more money for your club if you're short for your programs or your initiatives that you're doing. If you are brand new to your officer position, Osprey Hub Basics is kind of a good foundation to come to that session. Tackling the tough talks is really good for anybody who might be experiencing conflict in your organization at some point, which I know that doesn't happen here at Stockton, but good to go to and just to be prepared. Motivating your members is a great way to learn how to delegate tasks and really involve those general members so that they keep coming back. I'm sure you had a great time at the Get Involved Fair and you have a whole list of lots of new members. And so the motivating your members session will really talk about like what to do next. How do you keep them coming back meeting after meeting and staying engaged and staying involved with your organization? For anybody who is handling room requests, meeting reservations, the 25 live session will kind of walk you through the basics of how to reserve space on campus and make sure that we can set you up with access for that. We'll have dinner in the Eckwing Atrium, and then after dinner, we will have a few other sessions afterwards. So First Amendment, getting your voice heard, learning the ins and outs of free speech and how to amplify your voice on campus. As I mentioned, how to submit a successful funding request, travel procedures. So anybody who's planning a trip or doing something off campus at any point, learn from Renee all of the basics of what you need to do to make sure that that trip can run successfully. And then Event Planning 101, hosted by the kings and queens of event planning, the Stockton Entertainment team, will be helping to teach you all the basics of just event planning skills. So hopefully you'll be able to divide and conquer and really maximize your time here at officer training. For those of you on Zoom, we are hosting most of these sessions virtually as well. And so we look forward to you sticking with us today. A few changes and announcements, I suppose, from the Office of Student Development. So Diane Stalling, who is one of our advisors, is still currently out on leave through about mid-March. And so what we did is we are dividing up all of our clubs again so that everybody has an advisor who ideally is here this semester for the full semester. So when you go onto Osprey Hub, there is the campus link section on the bottom right-hand side of the page. If you click the, what is it? Who is my advisor? Is that what it says? Click on that. We've updated that list as of like 2 days ago. And so some of your clubs may have a new advisor. With that said, I also want to introduce our new person to our staff, Dr. Matt Greer, who is rejoining us again because he is a Stockton alum, but I will allow him to introduce himself.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, so as Lauren said, my name is Dr. Matt Greer. You don't need to be that formal. You can just call me Matt. I'm a 2015 graduate of Stockton. I was an elementary education and psychology major with minors in business and math. And I was also a very involved student on campus. So I was a member of Kappa Sigma. I was president of SET. I was an orientation leader in Howland, as well as an admissions ambassador, and worked in the office of student development as an undergrad as well too. So excited to be back in this experience. Prior to being here, I was at Temple University for 6 years. Did a quick stint in the Midwest at IUPUI, which is a merger school between IU and Purdue. And did my master's work at Rutgers University, and my doctorate work at Temple University. So excited to meet you all. Had some fun facts up there for you. But I also want to make sure that you are meeting each other in this type of way as well. So if you are sitting next to someone that you know, I'm going to ask you to stand up. Good, everyone stand up. And I want you to find someone new in the room that you don't know. So we're going to move around your seat and find someone you don't know. If you're in the chat, you can put an interesting fact about yourself in the chat to get to know other people that are virtual as well too. Okay, with this person, I want you to make sure that you know one common fact that you have in common with each other that isn't something like you live in New Jersey, you go to Stockton, you're both second year students. It needs to be a more unique fact. So you find something that you both share in common that is a unique fact.
Ask them if that is better. I can hear it coming through your computer.
Better.
All right, we think we have fixed the audio. I'm logged on to Zoom on my phone. There we go. My back pocket is no longer echoing. So anyway, some things that our officers who've been around for a while know pretty well, and then we're going to talk about some new stuff. Every organization is required to make sure that they are compliant with their roster and have e-board members. You need to have 10 students. Please, every organization, go into your Osprey Hub and make sure your officers are linked. If you're the president, make sure it says president. Make sure your vice president says vice president. Make sure your faculty and staff advisor is also on your roster. Now, I'm aware that some of your faculty staff advisors are like faculty members who, maybe they don't know how to use a computer real well. I don't care if you have to go to their office hours and click accept. Please make sure we're getting the faculty and staff advisors in the Osprey Hub. And there is a reason for this. We use the Osprey Hub for all of the messaging. So when we send things like come out to officer training, we send it to all the officers. If we send things like, hey, advisors, be aware there's this new policy, we send it to all the advisors. So if you don't want to get a million emails from our office, make sure your officers are marked. All right, review and upload your constitution. That's kind of been there for a while. If you maintain membership, if you have 10 members, if you have your officers linked, if you have your advisor in there, you have privileges. You get to do room reservations. You get to hold events and fundraisers on campus. If you're eligible for funding, you get to come in for funding. Trip approval. Trip approval is really important because if we approve of your trip, you are protected from some lawsuit if things happen on that trip. Ski club in the house? Now, I wish you could say I didn't know how the insurance works when you get injured on an event. Lockers, we have lockers on campus. See Renee over in the resource room if you'd like to get an officer on a locker. We have offices. We have a few offices that are available. There will be an application. I know I said this in December, but I didn't get it done. But now that Matt is here, I have a little bit extra time. You also get to use the name of Stockton University. You get to print it on your shirt. You get to say you are officially the Stockton University blah, blah, blah club. If you are using any of the images from the university, make sure you're checking with your advisor because there are certain things we're allowed to do and certain things we're not allowed to do. Event planning timelines. The number one reason that things go wrong on our campus is because we didn't have enough time to plan it. All right. It takes 3 days just to get a meeting space reserved. If you're doing an event, especially a complicated event, we're probably going to need 3 weeks. To get that event onto Osprey Hub so that it's advertised correctly, you should have it in the Osprey Hub 2 weeks out. Travel requests can take forever. The more complicated your travel is, the longer it's going to take. So if you're going to a conference that has conference registration and flights and hotels, if it's in May, you should be coming in now. All right. Renee does all of the travel. It is complicated to get it through all of the New Jersey spending rules. That's why we need all of this. Melissa's not in the house, is she? Where's Melissa? Oh, there she is. Melissa does all the complicated spending on campus. There are rules on top of rules on top of rules to spend money in the state of New Jersey. That's why purchase requests need to be in 3 weeks in advance. All right, so that way, guess what? If you need a funding request, you have to have that funding request complete before you can put in your purchase request. So we're talking about 4, 5, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to get a funding request before an event. All right. If you are looking to get more money, requests under 1,500 can be voted at finance. They meet generally weekly. Requests over $1,500 must be voted on first by the finance committee and then by full Senate, which only meets once a month. So if you're requesting money for an event more than $1,500, and then you're gonna be doing the purchasing for it, that should be like 2 months in advance. So that means if you have anything planned for the spring semester that you're gonna be asking more than $1,500, ask now, and it already may be too late. Caden, how many things do we have in the system right now? 4 that haven't been heard? 8. 7 or 8 requests in the system right now that haven't been heard. So the backlog happens. You need to get everything as early as possible. Cater tracks. Catering is crazy. They are making sure that everyone has their order in time. They do not have giant places where they keep everything refrigerated. So they have to receive the food in a reasonable time before your event. So they're going to need at least 2 weeks, and they are going to start charging fees for late requests and charging fees if you don't pick up your food. All right, external food vendor requests need 3+ weeks in advance. If you have an external food request that is coming up, go see your advisor on Monday. Talk to them today if they're here. All right, because you need to first request it from Chartwells, and then we need to collect the documentation for that vendor, which might include ServSafe documentation, their insurance forms, their tax ID forms. And then once you have all that, then you can make the purchase request, which we already know needs 3 weeks. Hopefully you're hearing me. Early planning is the best way to be successful here. All right? Common purchasing mistakes. Put everything in 3 weeks in advance. Documentation. We need that quote or that invoice that the vendor has sent you that includes their name and their address, their physical address, their, tax information is going to be in there. We need that loaded into that purchase request. All right. Cater tracks. If you go to catering and you put something in, don't print that screen. Your student development advisor has to approve it, and then they will email you the quote or the invoice actually. All right. So all of that has to happen in a timeline. After the fact purchases, we could not, if you come in and like, hi, I spent money 3 weeks ago. I had a DJ last night. Ooh. I don't know who that is. It wasn't my wife, I know that. We cannot reimburse you unless it is already approved. What kind of things get approved for reimbursement? Mileage, some trip things where we can't get you the money beforehand. Okay. I did not write the software for the Osprey Hub. They use a term inside Osprey Hub that no one understands, and it's payee. Payee is the person who is receiving the money. So if it's DJ Scribble, who's getting the money, and their real name is Fred Smith, please put in there Fred Smith and their address and their tax information. All right. Approver email. So when you go to Cater Tracks, it's going to ask you who is the approver and what is their email. That is your student development advisor. If you put in your email address, catering is going to send it to you. You don't have the ability to approve it, and your food isn't going to get ordered. So make sure you're using your student development advisor's email under approver email. Let's see, what else do you need? There we go. Frequently used vendors. We have some frequently used vendors. So if you're looking for office supplies, it's real easy. Go to the WB Mason website, fill up a cart, screenshot it, put that right into your Osprey Hub purchase request. Ace Screen Printing, Quality Concepts, Promotions and Unicorns. These are all local vendors that work with us all the time. They know what our purchasing looks like. Stouts has a contract, sort of, with the university, so they already know our business practices also. We also knew, this is new, everybody. I told you there'd be some new things. We now have a travel agent service that works with the university and has signed a contract with the university. So if you're taking a bunch of students to a conference and you need to fly, you know how we used to have to like go to the airline's website and get everybody's information? We're going to be able to use this travel services to do that. Now, we haven't done it yet because they're brand new. So we don't know exactly how it's going to work, but if you're traveling, doing group travel, come on in and let's try that system. All right, other helpful tips. It is recommended to price out vendors. Just because one vendor says it's this much money, why haven't you asked another vendor what they cost? Spoiler alert, a lot of the easy, big online companies like Custom Ink, way more expensive than local people. Graduation stoles. It's going to be graduation time soon. We're already getting requests for people to buy like graduation apparel or stoles or, you know, a gift for seniors. Anything like that that is going to the people who are graduating needs to come from your revenue. It can't come from your club budget. Why? Because it's a gift. They take that with them. The day they use it is the last day they're a student. All right. By the way, it takes a long time to get custom stoles made. So you should probably be working on that very soon if you haven't already. Remember I said that we're sort of under contract with Stouts? The Stouts contract ended in January. That means that they have not done a price increase for the last 3 years because they had a 3-year contract. So we now have the new pricing for every single Stouts bus, and it has gone up significantly. So if you've worked with Stouts in the past and you know, oh, that bus, that's like $1,000. Don't be surprised if you call them and it's $2,000. All right, Set in the house. Where are you, Set? We found some of the early Set things had an 86% increase from last year for the buses from Stouts. But luckily, just like I say in the top, you can price out other vendors. You do not have to use Stouts if you don't want to. If we sign a contract in a couple of weeks, maybe that'll change. We don't know. Cultural theme months. Cultural theme months are still happening. Black History Month is going to launch next week on Thursday, February 1st. And then we have Women's History Month and AAPI coming up. If you're interested in getting involved in those months, please do. We're going to talk about that in the next section too. Oh, there they are. I forgot I had a slide for that. All right, we're going to change topics a little. We are now entering the new information from Jeff section. Real quick, anyone who's been to any of my First Amendment stuff, you've heard this before. If you've been to my funding stuff, you've heard this before. Why do we have student clubs and organizations? Why does the university employ Renee and myself and Lauren and Matt and Melissa and Parth? Why do they employ us to watch over clubs and organizations? Why do we register student organizations? We literally, we could hand Parth all of the money that SET has, and he would plan all the events, and it would be great. We have it for 2 reasons. One, we think it is a great learning resource. You learn by doing these clubs. The arguments you have inside of your club are the same arguments you're going to have inside your first job. Learning to run a budget in your club is going to teach you how to run a budget in your business. Okay? That is the #1 reason we think getting involved is important. But there's a bigger part, and it's that first bullet. This is from a discussion that the Supreme Court had about student activities fees. Somebody sued their university and said, I don't want to pay student activities fee. And the Supreme Court said, no, you have to pay your student activities fee, because the function of a liberal arts university is to promote the free marketplace of ideas. A large number and variety of student-funded organizations contribute to the intellectual diversity on the campus. which brings the question, what is the intellectual diversity that your group is bringing to campus? What makes you unique from the club that's sitting next to you? The answer is probably the mission or the purpose that's written in your constitution. Every single one of you, I've read your constitutions, has a purpose statement or a mission statement in there. And they all tell you exactly what you should do. All right? Mission-based programs should be your goal. Not to have fun. I mean, fun is important. Not to meet people, although that's important. Not to have something to do on a Saturday night. But your mission should be the reason you're holding those events. And the question becomes, how are you leveraging your programming to bring that mission to more people? Let me get this out of the way. Here we go. How are you reaching students who don't already go to all of your events and belong to your group? Now, one of the ways that we do around here is we co-sponsor with groups that support your mission, right? Sometimes it's obvious. Fishing club, Save, the environmental club, Love Blue, you're all gonna get together, you're gonna like clean the environment, you're gonna clean the beach, you're gonna go down to Lake Fred, you're gonna pull the reeds out, I don't know. That's up to you all to figure out. Sometimes it isn't so obvious. Commuters on the Go, Minorities in Law, Active Minds, SET, Coalition for Women's Rights, where are you? I think they're on Zoom. Yamira told me she's coming on Zoom. They all do mission-based programs within the cultural celebration months, and they do them really well. Okay, Women's Co was just in my office talking about doing a program during Black History Month, talking about disparaging medical treatment for Black women, especially those who are pregnant and giving birth. That is hyper laser focused, important mission-based programming that also is being shared with a wider audience. That's the kind of thing that we want to see. Co-sponsor. Don't just add your name, like, oh, add my name to the flyer. Yeah, we co-sponsored. Now do real co-sponsorship, everybody. Sometimes the co-sponsorships are weird, right? Pikachu loves energy, so the Pokemon Club supports Offshore Wind American Manufacturing Act of 2021 and says you should vote for it. Does that seem weird? It does seem weird. All right? Sometimes you should stay in your lane and really look at your mission and say, is this part of our mission? Should we really be doing this? And you should speak for yourself. Political action from political groups is encouraged. We want you to do that. That's your mission. The First Amendment allows everyone to be heard, but it also allows anyone who wishes to stay quiet to not be heard. And that's an important distinction. Forced speech and group statements can be dangerous because it may not reflect all the members' opinions, but it will be attributed to the entire group. Okay? Did everyone in the Pokemon Club agree about offshore wind? No. Magikarp says, I wish Pikachu would have talked for himself and not for the group. It's okay, Magikarp. You suck anyway. Now, some of you out there are going, Jeff, where is this going? Why are we bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because we have had a semester of some really strong, engaging political action, and we love it. All right? We have, for the most part, been incredibly respectful and civil for each other, to each other. Okay? Just about anybody out there who wanted to have their message heard, got their message heard. All right, we've done some new and engaging, incredibly good stuff, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want you to think that I don't want you to be politically engaged. Okay? Not every campus has been filled with civil activity. All right? Other campuses have had clashes at their protests, violence, destruction of property, disruption of displays, writing on flyers, ripping down flyers, doxing of the people who made political statements. All right? And we know what's happening at Harvard. There's literally a truck driving around with the names of the student leaders who signed petitions. People are getting emails, don't hire these people. All right? Remember, it's okay to say nothing. Or it's more important to say, you want to hear what Jeff has to say? Here's what Jeff has to say. That's not student development's opinion. That's my opinion. I encourage that. One person's rights does not overrule another person's rights is one of the key focus here. And our strength is our ability to share our ideas with each other in a civil manner. The answer is always more speech, not enforced silence. Okay? If you hide away an idea, it doesn't go away. If you don't like something, I want you to counter program it. I want you to get your message out. It's also okay to walk away. Don't feed the trolls. When this dude shows up on campus and you're not interested, go to class. Because if he doesn't have a room to talk to, he won't come back. The culture that protects unpopular speech, their ideas, the other person's message, will protect your message. All right? In the 70s, during the Vietnam War, universities would shut down the anti-war protests. In the 60s, they would obviously stop talking about civil rights. In the 70s, La Raza movement would have been shut down. In the 80s, it was the LGBT clubs. 2000s, could you say Black Lives Matter without getting in trouble? The culture that respects every message will respect the good ones too. So y'all know the DART team, right? You've seen us, we hang around, we're a little thing, we go to the protests. Our job is to work with the university to protect campus safety, the academic mission of the university, the business of the university, the reserved events, and then the individual rights of the people on campus. Everyone will be safe. That is our number one goal. Everyone will go to class and get to their professors and do their academic stuff. That is the most important thing here. You cannot be a student leader if you are not a student. If you're not working towards graduation, you should refocus. But the DART team will be there for you. The DART team is there to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Okay? General concepts. We're going to let everybody speak. We are going to err on the side of student safety. If something becomes unsafe and we have to step in, we are going to do it. You will all have more rights the more you register. If you reserve a room, that is your room. If you have an event that has gone through the process properly, and you have 10 members and an advisor, you have the right to that room. We are not going to allow the heckler's veto. Anybody know what that is? That's someone shouting down a speaker or an idea because they don't like it. Okay? We're okay counter protesting and counter messaging. but we're gonna let everybody's voice be heard. We also make our decisions without the care of the content. I don't care what your mission is. I care that you're doing something for it. The Tiddlywinks Club is just as important on this campus as, I have another one in my head that doesn't call somebody out. The Pokemon Club. All right? Your mission is valuable to you, and that's what's important. And we're going to find new and exciting ways to make this community as open and as vibrant as possible, even in these times. Because we've already done it. I talk to my friends at other universities, and they go, Jeff, you never guess what happened today. And I go, wow, you got a problem there. Thank God we don't have that here. Such ends the lesson unless you want to learn more. I'm going to be talking in depth about this. So if you're like, yeah, I want more of that, Jeff. Or maybe I disagree with you, Jeff. Please come to my session. We'll talk about it. Another shameless plug. I'm going to be also doing it at a leadership lunch. You should be going to leadership lunches. They're very cool. You get free food. You get to hang out with Lauren and me and some of the other cool people on campus. And I think that's it. How are we doing on time? We still have about 10 minutes. Well, we're going to open the floor for 5 of those minutes. If there are any questions about the sessions, the things we talked about, if anyone wants to ask for a picture of Matt's cats, we could do that too. Yes.
There are cats.
Remember Matt earlier said he had cats named Waffles and Sashimi.
I would like to swallow.
Okay, Matt, bring up your
I
picture.
think
Cat.
he's at recruitment right
Oh
now.
my gosh, he went to
He'll be
recruitment.
back.
He'll be
Let
back.
him know.
We'll show pictures of that kitty. No,
That's my dog.
that's Lauren's. All right, any other questions? How you doing? I'm doing awesome. Who's excited for the semester? Who, raise your hand if you were bummed out when we got snowed out last week. That's probably like you. Fine. Lies. True. If we had made it to like February 10th, it would have been 3 years since there was snow in New Jersey. Yeah. All right, everyone, the schedule is here. I'm presenting, so I'm gonna run to my room in front of you. But we start in 4:45. We have a bit of a break. So if you need to get a coffee, or if you need to swing through Dunkin', grab a donut, your speaker will be there very soon. You might meet them.
And we'll be at the
I'm sorry. What?
It'll be on our.
All right, if anyone has any individual questions for Laura or myself or anyone, if not, grab a snack. Session, everybody. Stop my recording here.